Hey folks, Jonathan again. New camera, thankfully, so maybe you can see a little better and we can start doing some inside videos of some projects. And I wanted to show you what I'm going to do is I wanted to show you my shop, but I'm going to do this one machine at a time, and we'll just make a few parts here because you know there's a story behind every machine here, and you know I just wanted to tell you, and you know that'll give you an idea if you decide to get an old machine. You can know what it's worth a little bit, and know what you're getting yourself into. But this is a Brown & Sharpe number 3, and the last patent date on this machine is 1903, so we're guessing it was probably built somewhere between 04, 05, something like that. So it's 110 years old, and I've had this machine for probably 15 years, and getting close to it anyway. And this was one of the, not the first, but one of the first machines that I had picked up. And this machine was actually in a factory in Dunn, North Carolina. Okay, and it was actually set up to cut gears. And when I got it, it came with a indexing head and the correct one for the machine, and all the plates, tailstock, all the gears to be able to cut bevel gears, and a lot of hold downs and odds and ends, cutters. And I was really lucky because it was taken to the junkyard, and a friend of mine actually got it before it had a chance to to get tore up and thrown around in the yard, and everything was still there. And I'm not sure what he gave for it, but like I said, 15 years ago it probably wasn't a lot. But it's sit in his yard, and he just buys and resells and trades around, and it sit in his yard for 2 years. And of course it got pretty rusty. It was in the rain, and I purchased it from him for $200. And now this was a 3-phase machine, of course, and I didn't have 3-phase at the time. So as you can see up there on top, it's got a Lima drive, 4-speed drive, and I took the armature off, took the motor apart, and just added a pulley to the main, the shaft in the motor, and put a 5-horse, and it's a 3,400 RPM, so it's actually too fast. But I, geared it down with the pulleys to run the correct, right, close to the 1725, and made it single phase. Now, if I had it to do over again, I would have never done that because I'd much rather have it 3-phase. But I just didn't have a phase converter and didn't have the money at the time to buy it, and so just done what I had to do. And the belt on this thing is the belt that was on it, and I'm not quite sure how it's held up. It's a single belt, it's a bolt together, it's old, and I'm getting ready to put about 4 or 5 link belts on it. It's it can run 6 belts. Originally, of course, it was line shaft on flat belt, and then of course the Lima unit was added on later. But it's actually worked with 1 belt. Well, I'm really surprised, and I've had to tighten it pretty tight, and why it hasn't broken, I have no idea. But it does work, and it's fully automatic. All the tables are power travel. They run off that drive shaft, and it still has the original oiler, which is just an oil can that sits up top, and you can move it around and turn it on to where it can drip or run, and I still use it. So as long as it works, there's no reason to do without it. And all the travel works fine. Everything works good on it. And I'll show you the plates. It's got a nice little door on the side. It's going to be kind of dark, but here's the door, and then all the gears and indexing plates and all the parts to do the bevel gears and stops on it. And it's actually a really nice machine. It's you know, it's just 110 years old, and it's got its chips and wear and tear and such on it, but it does work good. And these machines, when you buy them, you know, an old machine like this, now the indexing head is worth a little, but the machine itself is really just worth scrap price, and then basically subtract the fuel cost from, or the hauling cost. And you know, the $200 was plenty for the machine at the time. And the now the indexing head's a little different story. You know, they're worth a little more than the machine's worth, but I was real glad to save the machine. That, you know, that's one of my big things, is I don't want to see them get scrapped. And you know, even though there's, you know, nobody's going to buy this to sit in their living room for looks. You know, I enjoy having them, and I've never been trained to be a machinist. I do machine work, but it's all on my own stuff, and I get by. You know, don't claim to be a machinist in any way, but it works really good for cutting keyways and shafts. And I've milled parts down I needed to make smaller, and cut wear pads out of the hard plastics, and you know, anything I've needed to do, you know, I do with it. And I use whichever machine's easiest to do the job with at the time. And but you know, like I said, 110 years old, and it still works really good. And this is, like I said, just the first machine. I've got quite a few here. I'm gonna show you, and they're all hooked up, running and operating. And that's sort of part of the hobby of it, is to have the machines working. I don't like to set them and let them collect dust. And I'm not sure. I think I'll do one of the lathes next, but here is this one. And if you have any questions, just ask, and hopefully we'll have some good projects going here shortly. I've got some stuff going on in the shop. I can actually film now with the new camera, and seems to be doing a real good job. And I appreciate everybody that has subscribed, and hope, if you haven't, that you will. And I think and hope that I'll have some stuff that you'll enjoy. And like I said, if anybody has any questions or needs anything, be sure and ask, comment, and like them if you like them, and don't if you don't. But we'll get back with you soon on another machine. Thanks.